CNBC-TV18.
This week on Storyboard, we have NourishCo Beverages MD Vikram Grover speaking about the plans for summer, new campaign for Tata Gluco Plus, their new product pipeline and much more. We have Vikrant Mudaliar, Chief Marketing Officer at Dream Sports, speaking about their new campaign for Dream 11, expectations from IPL and outlook for 2023. And we have Prashant Tekwani, Managing Partner, Avas CX India, and Tarun Jha, Chief Executive Officer of Avas Creative India, speaking about the findings from their X-Index 2023 report. Hello and welcome to Storyboard. I'm Shubhani Gharat. NourishCo was formed as a joint venture between Tata Consumer Products Limited and PepsiCo. TCPL bought out the later stake in the company in 2020 as it sought to widen its presence in food and beverages segment and establish its presence in more sub-segments besides tea, salt and coffee, where it holds a considerable market share. Under this strategy, the company has been rapidly launching new products and will continue to do so. Its current portfolio includes Himalayan Natural Mineral Water, Tata Gluco Plus, Tata Copper Plus Water, Tata Fruski and Himalayan Honey and Preserves range. I caught up with Vikram Grover, MD NourishCo Beverages, and spoke to him about the plans for summer month, new campaign for Tata Gluco Plus, their product pipeline and much more. Vikram, welcome to CNBC-TV18.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Shivani. Great to be here.
So let's first speak about the new campaign launch, which is the Tata Gluco Plus. Summers are here. What are your plans for summers with this particular campaign, and how will the next few weeks or the next couple of months of summer look like?
Yeah, so great to be talking to you. You see, Tata Gluco Plus is a brand which has got a lot of opportunity before it. We do very well in certain parts of the country, so we are very strong. We are almost an iconic brand in the south and the east. And we have a very small presence in the rest of the country. And what we are seeking to do as a business is that we are seeking to create a presence for this brand across the country. And in order to be able to do this, of course, we are driving distribution and increasing supply. But I think most critically, we feel that it's important to actually build this brand with Gen Z consumers. And this advertising campaign that we're talking about today is really all about that. It's about building this brand and communicating the wondrous proposition of this brand to Gen Z consumers. I think the other thing that we're doing is that taste and sensorial pleasure is of great importance in this category. And the other thing that we're doing with this campaign is that we're launching the new cola variant, which is a wonderful product.
South, you mentioned there is a strong preference for Tata Gluco Plus. Yes, South has harsh summers, but South is also a market which is very difficult to crack, and also the attention of almost all, beverage players out there is on the southern market during the summer months. So what really works, if you can share the insights?
The brand purpose that we have is making the overcoming of challenges fun. And I think that's extremely relevant to the TG that we are going after, which is Gen Z. And the way that brand purpose gets translated into our advertising and the advertising idea is Tata Gluco Plus Energy On, Game On. So that's really the secret sauce for the success of this brand. I think it's a wondrous product. It does wonders for you in the summer. It's available at 10 rupees and it's available in the cup format, which makes it very, very easy to gulp and sit down very quickly.
What are the opportunities in the functional beverage category, just like the Tata Gluco Plus is in, for NourishCo?
The fact that this is a big opportunity for us also reflects in the progress that we've made in this business, particularly post-COVID. So in March of 2021, we clocked a turnover which was just north of 170 crores. I think this year, which is March of 2023, the fiscal that finishes in March of 2023, we'll have a turnover which is in the ballpark of 600 crores. So that will be about, I think, 3.5 times what we started off from. And next year, I think we are going to be looking at a turnover which is north of 1,000 crores.
Wow.
And that's an aspirational number that we have. That's an aspirational target that has been put out for us. Now, I think all of this has been made possible because we've got a portfolio of extremely differentiated, good-for-you functional offerings. Let me talk about them briefly. We've got Tata Gluco Plus, which is this low-cost drink which plays at the cusp of sports and energy. We've got Tata Copper Plus, which is doing roaringly well, and that really plays on the age-old wisdom of India. We've also got Tata Fruski, which seeks to upgrade consumers from street beverages to branded beverages. We've recently launched Tata Gluco Plus Jelly, which is a one-of-its-kind format in India. There's no other product like this. It's a sippable, drinkable jelly that we've launched. And we've also launched Fruski Juice and Jelly, which is a wonderful amalgam of fruit drink and jelly. And then on Himalayan, which is the original source water brand in India, therefore a very functional brand. We are seeking to broaden our footprint beyond just water, and we've launched preserves and honey. So really, we see these are some of the quote unquote functional opportunities that we've tapped into in the recent past. We see a number of similar opportunities going forward. It's impossible to comment on exactly what we're going to be doing. But I think our commitment is to actually launch products which are highly differentiated, which are good for consumers and which are functional. And that's what we're seeking to do.
You also, you kept Himalayan as a source brand, and, you mentioned how, early on, actually, like a couple of months ago, you expanded it to other categories as well. So when do you think, Vikram, I'm tempted to ask you, when do you think a brand expansion or extension makes sense? How do you take that call?
In all the work that we've done on Himalayan, what we've always found is that Himalayan enjoys iconic status with a certain set of consumers in this country. And of course, almost by definition, these are affluent, well-heeled consumers. And that is just one aspect of these very many multifaceted consumers. So, we had a share of equity which was far larger than our share of wallet. We had iconic status. And we felt that the brand, for the same set of consumers, the brand could offer much more than just water very meaningfully to this consumer set, because nobody was targeting them with the sorts of products that they were seeking in their lives. So really, I think that's what enabled us to make this decision of actually taking Himalayan just beyond water.
What about the other brands from NourishCo? Do you plan to do something similar with them as well in the coming days?
I think the first is that we are geographically concentrated. So we're using distribution, supply, and brand building to actually become a pan-India business. I think the second thing is that we've got a very focused portfolio for a beverage company. And we've taken steps to address that over the last several months. Like I said, we've launched Tata Gluco Plus Jelly. We've launched Fruski Juice and Jelly. And we've launched Himalayan Preserves, Himalayan Honey, and so on. The intention is to continue that momentum. So we're just launching the cola variant on Tata Gluco Plus. So the intention is to continue that going forward and to expand the portfolio. So it's geographical expansion, portfolio expansion, and really making Himalayan a source brand. I think if we are able to do these three things well, I think we will be able to not just hit this 4-figure number. I think we will have a very long, almost endless runway for growth ahead of us.
Well, all the best for that. Thank you so much. Thanks for sharing these insights with us, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Shivani, for your time.
It is time for a short break. On the other side, we have Vikrant Mudaliar, Chief Marketing Officer at Dream Sports, speaking about Dream 11's new campaign, expectations from IPL, and outlook for 2023. Welcome back. After Rohit Sharma, Hardik Pandya, Jasprit Bumrah, Dream 11 has more names to add on to their list of endorsers. Dream 11 has come up with a new campaign Ab Sabkhelenge with their new ambassadors Amir Khan, R. Madhavan and Sharman Joshi. In a conversation with Storyboard 18's Tasmai Laha Roy, Vikrant Mudaliar, Chief Marketing Officer at Dream Sports, talks about the campaign, expectations from IPL and outlook for 2023.
Hello and welcome to Storyboard 18, Vikrant. Glad to have you on the show.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Great. So we'll directly start about the exciting new campaign that you have launched. If you can tell us a little more about plans around the campaign.
The unique twist that we have this year is that while we have focused on using cricketers and cricket fans as very integral to our advertising campaigns, there's a unique marriage of cricketers and Bollywood that is happening this time. As you can appreciate, not to use the cliche of how Bollywood and cricket are the two biggest religions in the country. But a little bit of that also in terms of expanding our reach and tapping into new users is happening this year. And we are the campaign this year, in addition to our cricketers, will also feature Amir Khan, Madhavan, and Sharman Joshi, the famous Three Idiots, as you would recall. It's a happy coincidence that there's that little bit of legacy and memories of Three Idiots that the campaign would build on. But it's an interesting twist of how there's fun and banter happens when cricketers meet Bollywood superstars like the three I mentioned, and how Dream 11 is an enabling platform on where, Sabkhelenge, that's what we are talking about.
Talking about IPL, tell us a little bit about your expectations from IPL 2023. And given that this year we have free streaming on Jio Cinemas, that with that kind of amplification, how does it help brands like yours?
Our expectation is that this probably will be one of the biggest IPLs that we've seen. The point about right now, in terms of streaming being available on Jio Cinema versus the matches being available on Star Courts, means that overall we would like to believe there is an incremental reach that happens in expanding the viewership for the tournament per se. We will in all probability partner with both platforms, and that's something that we're evaluating. Anything that helps in getting us incremental reach and also engaging with existing users means that that's a good choice for us.
Sure. And talking of the ecosystem, Vikrant, from where you started the journey of having Dream 11 offerings to being the torchbearer in the industry to coming this long way, it has been quite a journey. So if you can help us understand the evolution of the brand.
It's been an interesting journey for us. You're absolutely right. Dream 11 has been the even if it sounds a bit modest, the torchbearer for the fantasy sports industry. With now 160 million plus users, means that it's not just India's but the world's largest actually fantasy sports platform. If you rewind to even 5 years back or 6 years back, that user base that I refer to, which is 160 million, was a fraction of that. Every successive year, we've seen that growth, not just in terms of our users, but also actively engaged users, as we like to call them, from being, just one or two sports to almost now 12, 13 different sports, in addition to cricket being offered on Dream 11 has happened. I think just as a product and the user experience that we have on the Dream 11 app today is far more sophisticated and far more, engaging for the users than it has been over the last few years. This acceptance or awareness about how fantasy sports, adds that additional layer of excitement and engagement to sport in general. The point I made about, turning passive sports fans into active sports fans means that it's gained large traction across the nation. We are very happy to see that it's over the years, it's no longer just been an urban phenomenon, but in terms of penetration, and our user base is now very well, spread across tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 towns. So it's and what the sports leagues and event organizers repeatedly come back and tell us that they're very happy with the association with Dream 11 because, thanks to that engagement with fans has meant that we've had an indirect impact also on increasing engagement and viewership for these tournaments as well.
If you can help us understand your perspective on content and how do brands such as yourself leverage content to amplify reach and engagement with your target audience?
Yes, there is still the role for the good old, television commercial, which gets modified and used for digital platforms as well. But I think social media has had a great role to play in terms of bite-sized content which engages, which brands come up with, and using different platforms, whether it's Facebook, Insta, or Twitter for that matter. Customizing that kind of content, which we have also started doing. One interesting thing is even for our digital advertising, which till about 4 years back was almost 100% static advertising, has now moved to almost 50 to 70% of even our digital advertising being video based. So coming up with content which is more customized for the digital audience. Duration is a key one, where it needs to be usually short duration. And customizing and personalizing for what goes on television versus what is performance advertising versus what is branded content for social media. So there is a lot of that has gone into figuring out how much we need to customize content. The other bit which I referred to earlier is also content just doesn't mean advertising content or brand content, but also the kind of content that we have on in a product or on our app. So there's live scores, there's commentary, there's stats, then there's obviously the leaderboard that we have. So I mean, if somebody was to sample or use the Dream11 app today versus what they used, let's say 4 years back, they would see that richness of content and engagement that they have just on the Dream11 app itself. So I think product content married with brand content, married with, let's say, advertising content has evolved a lot in the last 4 years, and we see only more personalization and customization happening in years to come.
Sure. Lastly, Vikrant, if you can tell us a little bit about your outlook for 2023 in the robust gaming space that we have in India at the moment.
So as enough, industry reports also indicate that the gaming overall in India seems to have reached an inflection point of sorts, in terms of just its growth potential. There's enough data points suggesting that maybe by 2030, this should be close to a $20 billion industry, up from, let's say, the $3 to $4 billion that it currently is. What's been nice to notice is that there are different facets and sub-segments within gaming which are also evolving. So there's fantasy sports, obviously, which Dream11 continues to operate in. But there's the entire Web3 gaming space. There's mid-core gaming, there's mobile gaming, there's console gaming, So I think esports to that extent, a lot of this now has a number of players within the industry. All of them will find their own niche and growth segments. In some of them, Dream11/Dream Sports, which is our sort of parent entity, might have a direct or an indirect role to play. But overall, I think it's looking very optimistic for the overall gaming ecosystem in that sense.
Great. Thank you so much, Vikrant, for the chat. It has been an amazing session. Thank you so much for joining.
It is time for a short break. On the other side, we are catching up with Prashant Tekwani, Managing Partner, Havas CX India, and Tarun Jha, Chief Executive Officer of Havas Creative India, speaking about their findings from their X Index 20. Welcome back. The X Index 2023 report by Havas Group reveals that in India, we are in the era of hyper experience, where consumers have the highest of expectations from brands across every touch point, from meeting efficiency needs to creating a superior emotional experience. This X Index 2023 India report is the proprietary customer experience barometer by Havas CX India, the specialized customer experience unit of Havas Creative Group India, which was launched in October 2020. Sharing with us the findings of this report exclusively, we are in conversation with Prashant Tekwani, Managing Partner, Havas CX India, and Tarun Jha, Chief Executive Officer of Havas Creative India, who joined us in the studio earlier this week. Joining us today to tell us more about their X-Index India Report 2023, we have Prashant Tekwani, Managing Partner, Havas CX India, and Tarun Jha, Chief Executive Officer of Havas Creative India. Thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you so much for sharing this report exclusively with us. Prashant, my first question to you is, what are the key takeaways, what are the key insights from the X-Index India Report, and how is it different as compared to the global one?
So, X-Index is a resource that is used by the brands not only to evaluate where they stand in front of the consumers, but it is also a very valuable tool to talk about in what sense can feedback be taken across from the learnings that they have from the consumers. We evaluate basically on 4 different parameters. Unlike last year, what we've done is we've extended the parameters on which we evaluate. Last year we evaluated people on the basis of only functional and emotional. What we have done is this year is we've gone into extending it towards collective as well as personal. What is not surprising that has come out in the report is India, for the second year in the running, has come out to be a very emotionally driven country. What it essentially means is basically when the consumer is actually going ahead and making a purchase, or in the consumer journey, the customer is actually looking at engaging with the brand a lot more. It is not just a functional conversation of adding your product to the cart, but it is a lot more than that. And what's surprising has come out is the fact that we are in alignment with at least another 4 countries, which is some of them are developed and some of them are developing countries like US, Germany and Mexico are also emotionally driven countries, so to say.
And if you can also throw in some challenges, of making this report happen for a country like ours.
There were about 54,000 consumers that we've spoken to. This report has gone across 10 different countries. We have about 500 brands that we had evaluated for this report as well. There are 3 different learnings that have come out. A differentiated journey has become very paramount for them. Second thing that has come out very strongly in India also is the fact that when you are in the journey, the consumer is looking at more from the brand. When I say more from the brand, they are looking at how can they learn in the consumer journey as well. And more importantly, how is content being a lot more important. Third thing which has come out, and I think this is the result of a lot of what has happened in the last 3-4 years in the pandemic and also the socio-economic conditions that we are going through right now. The consumers are also looking at how are brands creating communities right now.
What should be the key takeaways for brands from this? How can they exceed consumer expectations?
See, I've been a client marketer, so I can understand from the other side also what customers expect, what clients expect. What has happened is traditional businesses have, some of them have not scaled up, and the new businesses in this country have set the bar very high in terms of delivering excellent customer experience. Now, where do these traditional businesses go? So they have to find solutions, and it's not easy to find an end-to-end solution because, and some of the times, the companies also, the brands also do not exactly realize what the customer is expecting. The customers are expecting the same kind of experience from offline as well as online touchpoints. And that is a bit difficult to achieve. And that is our task, what we do.
Yeah, perfect. Also, some of the brands that have emerged out of India are much different actually as compared to the global counterparts. For example, Apple doesn't exist, in the top 10 list. So quickly, we'll take a look at a couple of brands that, that have topped the list in India, if you can play. So here are some of the top 10 brands in India right in front of the screen. So Airbnb is, the top brand in terms of consumer experience. Then we have Nexa, which is understood the way in which Maruti Suzuki has premiumized its offering over the past couple of years. Hyundai, UTI, DBS, which is another surprise for me. Then there is Digit, Tata Click. Then there is Citroen, which is a fairly new entrant into the India market. There is Agio and there is Nike. So if you can throw in some light on, how did these brands take these top 10 positions, much different as compared to the global, list.
So, Shivani, to be honest with you, we were all surprised in India when Apple did not take the top spot, because the last few years on every parameter, Apple kind of beat everyone hollow. But there were certain brands, for example, Airbnb, taking the consideration of what Airbnb did. They decided to implement certain future forward ideas, so to say. Today, when you go to Airbnb, it is not just about booking a vacation. It is about not about just booking a homestay. It is about a lot more than that. It is about how do I go ahead and book an experience. So it has moved itself away from a functional conversation of, hey, come stay with me in a homestay, versus, hey, come, let us be part of your vacation and, create an experience for you which can be used.
Sure.
Same goes for the other brands also. A lot of the brands that are there, they have taken efforts in order to make sure that certain parameters that they were not really good on, for example, Digit, for example, Aegon, these were not brands which were part of the consideration set last year. And they have topped in a lot of aspects this year, so to say.
Over to you, Tarun. What, according to you, were some of the outliers in terms of trends from this CX India story?
So one of the things that I noticed was that customers are not expecting only efficiency, but a combination of efficiency as well as pleasure, the joy of the experience. And that is one of the things which is very unique in this study. The customers want the best and the most efficient way in which they can interact with the brand in the journey, as well as the fun of it, the joy of it.
Thank you so much. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And finally, before we go, Trevor Noah and Roger Federer take the ride of a lifetime in a new film showcasing Switzerland's hottest tourist attractions. The Grand Train Tour is Federer's latest effort to boost tourism in his home country, Switzerland. Let's take a look at this fun film.
Well, look, Trevor, we don't need comedy. Let's just stick to the Grand Train Tour of Switzerland. Tell everybody how beautiful it is.
Let's not do comedy. I'm a comedian, Roger. You're killing me here.
Oh, just on time.
Oh, look who's not on time. Mr. 4 minutes. What happened? Huh? I thought you were Swiss.
But
4
the
minutes.
crew's over here.
Oh, I think the crew is on the wrong train.
No, we are on the wrong
Roger,
train.
relax. We're not on the wrong...
No.
Oh, we're moving. We're on the wrong train.
No, we are. I told you we're on the wrong train.
Yeah, that's not the time for
No,
blame,
no,
Roger.
no,
Just
no.
stop the train.
I can't stop the train. Conductor, stop the train!
Yeah,
I'll
stop.
fit there!
What? How?
No, but-
911!
No,
Stop.
it's too late.
4
Stop the train.
minutes! Stop the
Look,
train! Get your phone. He's saying he's calling you. Call my mom! Get your phone. Roger.
I don't have my phone.
What do you mean you don't have a
I don't know, I
phone?
gave it to Tony before I came on the train. You have your phone?
No, I don't have my phone. Why would you bring your phone on a shoot? Come on.
Nächster Halt, Interlaken.
We're on our way to Interlaken. I don't even know what that is.
That's 2 hours away from here.
Okay, it's just not that bad. It's not that bad. It's not that bad, right?
We're in deep trouble.
Huh?
With that, it's a wrap on Storyboard this week. You can catch all of our content on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Thanks for watching. We will be back same time next week. See you soon.